Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. We are back on the timber frame extension and we are going to finish our plastering today. At least that is the plan. Also, we're going to be doing a little bit of clearing up, a bit of cleaning up and getting the place ready. So when we do finish this, the place is ready for undercoating. So we've made a start this morning. We've been busy. I've just been fitting some of these lights that we bought that arrived yesterday. They came quite late in the day. So I'm just getting some lights on, just making sure everything's working. All the connections are working and stuff. And then also to give us more light, so when you come into paint, we'll have better light. So I'm going to quickly show you what we've done so far, and I'll show you what the guys are doing now. And we'll get on with the plastering. I'm going to try and do a little bit of tutorial today on the plastering. I know you guys are asking a lot of the time. I'll see what I can do today. I'll see if I can do a little bit of more detail sort of stuff on the plastering. I have done videos in the past where I've specifically done tutorials. Some of them are quite old. I was looking at one yesterday, so I thought maybe I'll do an updated one. I'll try and do some today. So let's get inside and I'll show you guys what the plans are today. So firstly, guys, this is the lights. I've been putting lights in, as you can see. All the lights are working. And they're looking good. These are lights that we've got in here. These are the old lights, which they're going to be changed because they are different. And then these ones are different as well. So we've got to change these ones, and we also need to cut our new hole here. We need to put these lights in as well. So this is the space now. So what we're doing now, taking the old floor out. It's been nailed down, so we're going to take this old floor out. It's all going in a scrap, the skip, and we're going to get this place cleared out today. Okay, so that is the plan. Obviously, we've got some plastering to do. I've got some plastering to do here. I've got to do some bonding here. I've got to do some bonding here to clear this out. I've got a skim here, skim around the edges and stuff. Got all around here to do as well. And we've got this side here to do as well. That's the main bits that we've got to do today. So yeah, we're gonna crack on now. All right, guys, quick update. So as you can see, we're taking the floor out, de-nailed it as well. There's a lot of nails holding this floor down. We've come up with an issue. We have some damp here. So we've got a leaking chimney. It's quite bad, actually. If you can see it here. It looks like someone's used some sort of adhesive or something in this section. I don't know, maybe there was some stone here at some time and they took it off and laid the floor. But as you can see, the floor has been rotting. It's the smell of damp down here. You can see it again here. So there's either water entering directly through the chimney. I'm gonna have a look up there and see if it's open. So when it's raining, water could be coming straight through into here. Obviously there's no fireplace anymore like it used to be. There would have been stone here and there'd have been fire and all that stuff. So that wouldn't have been an issue. Or it could be a flashing issue. I'm going to have a look at the rooms upstairs just to see if it's a flashing in. You could what?
Santa dropped down and spilled milk.
Well, Santa's dropped down and spilled his milk, apparently. I didn't. That's Tristan's idea on it. So yeah, we got three options of what it could be. But what we're gonna do is this. You can see this board has been changed at some time. It's not original. We're gonna have to change this section out. Probably get some 18mm ply or something like that. Replace this. We'll do this when we're ready to lay the floor. We don't do it right now because we've got other things to do. But before we lay the floor, we'll take it out. We need to assess as well, make sure that the joists are not rotten as well. So hopefully that's not an issue. But yeah, that's what we came up with there. So as far as the room, what we've been doing, a couple of things. I'll show you actually what I've been doing in the living room. The other side here of the, this is the other side of that wall where we put that steel in. We had to break this through. So I've put some bonding on that now. And then after lunch, I'm going to skim that. So that's that area. This side now just needs a little bit of plasterboard here around the edge here. And then this part is done. But otherwise, the space is looking good. Tristan's going to patch that. He's cutting a little square out and just put a piece of plasterboard there. And that's the last area to patch. And I can skim the ceiling after lunch as well. I haven't done any skimming yet. We've just been cleaning and clearing out the space. Also, we've been putting these lights in, obviously. And we've put all our lights in. So the space is looking a lot better. We are going to change these lights out. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to remove all of these lights, move the holes slightly over, probably just move them over slightly, recut them, and then patch these holes up because these holes are too large for the lights that we've got. So we have to get rid of them. And then these lights there are, well, these two are fine, but these two are slightly too small, so we're gonna have to open the hole up a little bit. These ones are all ready to be connected up. We just need to get some more lights, and we can do those ones. But otherwise, that's it. So we're gonna go for lunch now. When you come back from lunch, back to skimming. All right, guys, so we're on to a little bit of plastering here. I'm going to do a little bit of a tutorial. Some of you guys have asked. Let's see if I can show you a little bit more detail up on this. So we've got, this is an interesting one because we've got 3 different surfaces actually. So we've got plasterboard, we've got bonding, and we've got existing painted surface. So I'm going to be going through 3 surfaces here actually, so probably not the best one to do this on, but you know, we'll make it work. So basically people are asking about a couple of questions I'm going to try and answer. People are asking sort of thicknesses of coats and stuff. Your first coat, this is my way of doing it. Your first coat, put it on a bit thicker. So your first coat goes on a bit thicker. Your second coat goes on a little bit thinner. You can mix it a little bit softer as well if you want the second coat, just a little bit softer than the first coat. But it really is up to what you feel you're comfortable with. But so again, you can start from the bottom, from right to left. You can start from left to right. Depends on, you could be left-handed, or it depends on what's comfortable to you. That's how I look at it, is whatever's more comfortable to you. Don't go by this whole rule. Some plasters will say, oh, you're doing it wrong. You've got to start from the left, top left and bottom left and all that. That's rubbish as far as I'm concerned. No one can tell you which way you should start doing something. It's what is comfortable to you. Everybody does not work the same way. So I typically start top left and I work. Sometimes I work down and I come down in sections. Sometimes I go across. It's how I feel. Sometimes I start from the bottom and I go across. So in this case, because it's for the video, I'm not going to get the ladder out yet. I'm just going to start at the bottom. And typically you just want to, it's more about sort of time and speed than it is about being perfect. The thing a lot of people try to do, which is the big mistake, is putting plaster on and trying to make it all nice and smooth. When you're putting your first coat on, you don't really care about it looking good. You just want to get it on straight, fill in all the areas that need filling in, trying to get it roughly all the same sort of thickness, consistency. Is something you're going to have to get from practice and experience, to be honest. Trial and error. Applying it on. Oops, sorry. Trial and error and applying it on. Typically, and again, until you get more used to it, don't try to put too much on at a time. This is enough for me. Probably more than most people will probably put on if you're learning. And how you want to put it on is you want to get your trowel at a roughly 45-degree angle. You will get used to how hard you're going to press it. It's going to be depending on how thick you want it. So here I'm doing it very gently and it's going on quite thick. If I pressed it a bit harder, as you can see, I can spread it a lot further and it's thinner. Well, this is about how thin I want it to be. So you're going to have to try it and get used to the right, you know, how hard you want to press it and so on. Okay. A good idea, which is again, you'll have to practice on technique to spread it evenly, is when you push up,
at 45, get to the height, then switch the other direction and pull down. Okay, and that will really spread the plaster out for you. So as I said, I'm going up. I'll get back to the ladder in a bit. I'm just doing the lower parts for you guys. So obviously when you get around sockets, just make sure you haven't got too much on your trowel. A lot of the time you can pick up excess from somewhere else and just go right up to your edges. Again, I could pull some from here and go right down my edges like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna come on this side. Again, I'm just doing this really rough. I gotta also work fairly quickly so I can get this work done as well. But again, it's really just getting it on. You're not really worried about how flat it is. Again, bear in mind we're doing 2 coats on this, so you get to flatten twice. You'll flatten your first coat as good as you can, and then you'll flatten your second coat, and that will be your final coat. Okay, so as I said, you'll get used to different ways of using your trowel. Get used to using it in different angles and different directions. But for now, just focus on finding out what works best for you, what you're more comfortable with. Some people, as I said, are left-handed, some are ambidextrous, some are stronger with the left hand than the right. And it's all about what works for you. Okay? So now when you're doing different textures or different substrates, should I say, probably the easiest to plaster on is plasterboard. You don't need to PVA it or anything like that. You can go straight on, don't put any PVA on it, go straight onto the board, and it's very forgiving. So when you get to other substrates, like existing plastered walls, painted surfaces, bonding. This bonding is still a little bit soft. If you can plaster over bonding the same day, you just need to know at what time you need to go over it. If it goes fully dry, then you will need to PVA it. What I'm trying to do is all in one day, so I'm not. We are putting coving in here, so I'm not fussed about a little bit of tape at the top joint for anybody wondering. There's going to be coving up here. So this is our plasterboard area pretty much done. Plasterboard area has the least suction, so that gives you the most time to work with compared to the other surfaces. So with the painted surface, the area on the right here, I have to PVA it. I've already done that. I've applied some PVA. Just use, most PVAs you can just use it neat. You don't need to add water. However, there are different PVAs. Not all bottles are the same. So they all have different concentrations. But most of the PVAs that I see out in the shops, to be honest, these days, you can just go on straight on neat. They're already sort of watered down to a certain degree. All right, so and the other issue is when you've got multiple surfaces like this is you get multiple drying times. So you really have to pay attention if you're doing this, because one side is going to get dry, suck and pull in quicker than the others. The plasterboard is going to be the last one to do that. So probably this area, the bonding, and then the plastered area are the ones that are going to pull in that order. So I am blending in here, what we call feathering in. So as you can see, I'm really getting it tight at the edge of the trowel and blending it or feathering it in. So you go from a very fine to a thicker layer. That needs more practice, but it's something you can do when you're blending in into a wall, and you don't necessarily want to plaster the whole wall. If you do it right, no one will ever know that there's a blend there. Oops. Yeah, so I probably could have put some more PVA on this because I PV'd it about 10 minutes ago and it's quite warm in here, so I think it started really drying, so I have to work quite quickly, but I should be all right. What you ideally want is to give yourself time to work. The slower it can set, the better for you. If you're not in a rush. Obviously, if you're doing your own work, you're not on a rush. When you're working on a job, you want to get it done in a certain reasonable amount of time. Otherwise, it's costly for you, right? So this is what I'm going to do here. What you can have as well, another good idea, is you can use a spray bottle. Good to have, especially when you're doing the blending. Sometimes you need to weten these dry edges as they start drying out too much, and it helps you to be able to blend in. Or I'll just use a brush and some water. This is what I'm going to be using. Okay, so that is the first coat I put on. Now I do use a speed skim. Sometimes I'll be using one here. And for the cases of the speed skim, you pretty much want to hit it with a speed skim straight away. So I'll grab that now. Just make sure it's clean and got a wet edge. Okay, make sure you got no bits on it anywhere. And you want to hit it straight away. I tend to go from bottom to top first, horizontally. You can hit it different directions. Ken, if you want to come a little bit closer and see if you can see the difference. So you can see where I've hit the speed skim here. It's taken up most of the lines, flattened it down compared to this area. So it looked like this, and that's after the speed skim. Again, I'm using the speed skim sort of to the edge, feathering it in with that wall. And you just want to, again, you get used to how much force you want to put on or how firm you want to do it. As it hardens up, you'll use more force. When it's still soft, you don't really need to put a lot of force on it to get it flat. So the speed skim does save a lot of time on your initial flattening, but later on we pass a trowel on it as well, especially when we're polishing up. So again, I'm using it on the edge of the angle bead. I'm using the angle bead edging as my guide, and I'm running it along here like this. When you get to the top, I like to go down like this. Also, make sure your hands are not touching the blade because you'll be bending it. So make sure you hold on to the handle here and don't touch the blade. And again, just pull down and do the same thing here. And pull it down like this. Okay. Go under the socket here. I'm just going across this way. Right, so this is all right for now. I'm gonna leave this. I just need to keep an eye on it, keep checking it, and once it gets to where it should be, I'll show you guys when it's time for a second coat. So what I'll do is we'll let this set for a bit more, and then I'll flatten it a bit more, take some of these lines out, and then we'll leave it, and it's good for waiting for the second coat. When the second coat goes on, we're pretty much doing exactly the same thing, and then I'll show you the process of getting it nice and perfect. All right, guys, so we're back on the wall. I just want to show you guys a little bit close up. This is what the wall is like now, so you can see I'm sort of pressing it. This is the area where the bonding was. This is the area where the plasterboard was. It's a little bit wetter, And this is the area where the wall was, which is hard, or it's very thin here, so it's obviously going to dry out a lot quicker. So now you can see we've got a couple lines and stuff in here. Now when I pass the trowel over it, you can take those lines out. And I'm doing it quite firm, to be honest. So this really is about to just get a second coat right now. Yeah, turn this on. It's a bit dark, isn't it? But is that better? Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna have to turn it on for me to see, though. But yeah. So basically, I'm just flattening this out. I could have done this a bit earlier, but I've just been doing other walls, and I'll just come back to it now. So I'm pretty much just giving it a good flatten over. The flatter you can get your first coat, the easier it is for your second coat to come out top notch. So yeah, I will just hit this now with a very fine coat, because as I said, it's pretty much almost there. And you only really do need a fine coat for your second coat. And this will fill in all your last dips and help you get the wall nice and flat. So when I do the second coat, I'm not going to go all the way out to the edge where I've blended, because I don't need to. I'm actually going to wet the edges a little bit. What I'll do is I'll just use a brush. I've got some water in a bucket here, and I literally am just going to wet the edges with a brush like that. And while it's wet, I'll just hit it like that. I mean, this has really gone quite hard because I did it before, so it's pretty much quite blended in anyway. So when I take my next coat, I'll probably bring it a little bit closer to the edge, but not all the way to the outside. So once this is undercoated, hopefully you shouldn't see any blend. But if you do, you can check it before you undercoat. You can feel it. If you feel like you've got a little edge, you can just pass a light sandpaper, 120 grit sandpaper, and that will take off that slight little edge to it. But if you've got it right, you shouldn't have to really do anything. If you have a spray bottle, you can also use a spray bottle. It's a little bit of tile adhesive there. If you have a little spray bottle, you can just give it a light spray on the edge. And job done. Right, so we're going to mix up another batch now, quickly, and we're going to hit this wall there. Yeah. Cool. Alrighty, guys. So we just knocked up a quick mix. It's a little bit softer than I would have liked it. I think I put a bit too much water in it, but it's all right. We'll work with it. Just gotta be careful. So yeah, this is just gonna be a very light, thin skim, just to show you. So I can spread it quite far. So your second coat generally doesn't take as long to apply as your first coat, because if you get it nice and soft, or get it so it's very spreadable, especially if your first coat is nice and flat, one spread can do quite a lot. Being that it's thinner, it will dry a bit quicker. So again, be careful. Keep an eye on it. If you're just learning, again, practicing, don't do too much big areas at a time. Or just do one area, take a break, and wait. rather than sort of going off to do multiple areas and having to balance all the different drying times and so on, and get caught out because you might not be able to move fast enough to get back to a certain area. So yeah, just take your time. If you're going to do one wall that day, then just do one wall. And as you get more used to the timings and so on, you'll be able to be a bit more methodical with your time and use your waiting times efficiently. So I think today we're going to do most of this. We have run out of plaster though. This is the last that we've got, which is just enough to get our second coat on this area. We also hit a coat up there as well, which I blended, so I'm going to give that a second coat as well. And that's all we have plaster for and all we actually have time for. So give yourself about 2 hours to do a coat, to do a complete, area. That's your first coat, your flattening, your second coat, drying times, polishing, all that stuff. Give yourself about that much time to work with it. So it is gone free now, I think, so this is our last one. So again, as I said, I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm sort of feathering it back a little bit away from the edge, not all the way to the edge. And it's feathering nicely, a lot easier into the wet plaster. It feathers much easier in the wet than it does in the dry. So after I've done this coat, I'll just go off to do the other areas. Then I'll probably come back on this in about 10 minutes, and then actually good to start flattening it out. You can hit the speed skim on this coat as well, if you've got one. Again, it just helps you flatten it out. The first flatten, which I'll do straight away after I finish applying it to the wall. We are going to be coving this area again, everywhere. Oh, sorry, you've been asking about Namdi. I literally just got a call from him a little while ago. We shall be seeing him back. So we'll see Namdi back probably next week. We're going to be really attacking the cowboy build job. This week we actually have concrete coming for the garden house. I'm not going to delay it anymore. I'm just going to get on with the garden house while we're waiting for the other bits on the main house, the structural drawings and stuff. We're just going to pour it. So we've got a truck and a pump coming on Thursday I think. And we're just going to crack on with that. Right, so that's basically that. So we'll leave that. Actually, I'll hit that with a speed skim first. Let's have one go on it. So again, we do the same thing again. Nice and lightly, don't have to put too much pressure.
And you can see we're perfectly flat now.
Okay. So at this stage, when you do this, you might get 1 or 2 lines, and that's good.
You just let it to set.
Again, we come from the top, we come down. We can take it from the sides, just to get it nice and flat. That's it. So we're just going to leave that now for about 10 minutes, and then that should be good to polish it up. Cool. All right, guys, so we are ready for the last flatten of this. So we put the second coat on, we did the speed skim. I've gone off and done other areas. I'll show you that at the end. And now I'm coming over now to flatten this. So this is pretty much good now for the first pass. So this will pretty much take all the lines out. I could use my normal, this is my Flexi Travel. To be honest, this is really flat now. So I could use my other float, but I don't need to. I'm just gonna go straight on with this, as I said, because it's very flat already and it's fairly stiff. So I'll just go on with the Flexi. The Flexi is not gonna push it into any shapes or anything, because as I said, it's stiff enough. But the Flexi is only taking out a few lines in it. So yeah, again, I'm just going from the bottom, going up. As I said, it's just a few lines that was in there. Pretty much done. I'm going to leave it again now for another 10 minutes, and I'll come back over it with the last pass. What I'll do as well, I'll just wet the corners with my brush, all the little corners, and I'll just work my way away from the corner, go up tight and pull it away from it. Same thing on this side, just pull away, just wet it so I don't get no drag. So clean off all the edges of the steel edging, the angle bead. Hey guys, so this is pretty much it. I'm going to leave it there as far as the tutorial is concerned. All you would do is you leave this, you just keep checking it, maybe another 10 minutes, and then just give it another polish. You don't need to go crazy with the polishing. It's unnecessary because you're going to paint it and you want it to have something for the paint to stick to. I know some people like to polish and show off with the polishing, but for painting's sake, and we are the ones doing the painting, so we know, we do not want it to be polished. It doesn't take the paint very well. So this is pretty much how I'll leave it. I'll probably come back in about 10 minutes and give it a last flatten just to make sure I've got no marks and no lines and stuff. And then other than that, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to quickly just run through what we did do, just show you guys what we did, and then we're going to wrap up. All right, guys. So what did we do today? So we did inside the reveals all the way around, all done. We put some lights in as well, just to test everything out and light up the space. We also did this wall here. We did all the way around to here. We did obviously what I just showed you guys, which is this area here, and we've taken it round to here. So we've done that. We also blended in that part of the ceiling again as well, as you can see. Same sort of thing is what I did basically, and blended it in. So that's all done. I had to put a little bit of bond in here, because where we put the plasterboard, it was a little bit higher, a bit too high. So I put some bond in to blend the edge. So when we come back, we'll be skimming that area. So all I've really got to do is skim this ceiling and that little bit there. And then we need to just do this little section here. And that is pretty much the plastering done. I've got one little bit of section here to do, and on the other side. I'll show you guys as well what I did do in here. So I just need to come over now and give this another polish again. This section is done. We're going to have to obviously repair the coving, so we're going to get some coving and we'll just cut a section out, bond the new section in, fill it in, blend it in, you'll never know. And that's pretty much that. So yeah, otherwise then we took the floor up obviously, and we've done a clean up, clear up in here. So now we've got the full space. I'm trying to step back for you to see the whole space. It is quite a good size space, quite big. And I think it's come out quite good as far as the steel design and all this stuff. It's worked out. Once we get all the new lights in and everything's matching and it's all white and the flooring is all done and all that, it's going to look really tidy in here. And obviously once the kitchen's in as well, it will be nice. So yeah, we've got one more day of sort of plastering and maybe plastering and fitting all the new lights in, and then this place is ready for its painting session. And yeah, once that's done, we've got to screed this floor. We'll be doing that soon, and we'll wait for the kitchen. The kitchen's not coming for another 3 weeks anyway, so we're well ahead as far as the kitchen is concerned. So yeah, give us another couple of days on this, and it's ready for the kitchen. So yeah guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something as well. I try to do, you know, a bit more explanations when I have the time. Sometimes we don't have as much time on a day to do it, but I had a little bit more time today so I could slow down and show you guys a couple of things and answer a couple of questions. But yes, we are shooting off now. As I said, we are back on the Cowboy Bill job this week as well, pouring concrete. Tomorrow we're down at the garden house to try and wrap that up as well. A little bit of K-Rain. Hopefully the rain doesn't come like it did today. We're going to finish the K-Rain, and then we've got just a few minor little bits to do inside, like fitting the door lock, door handles on the bathroom, silicone and everything. And I think that's about it really. Yeah, so anyway guys, we're off. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comment section, and we shall see you soon on the next one. Take care.